Great, thanks guys. Um, so my name is Sawako Shinoda. I'm the Assistant Manager of Library Marketing at Candlewick Press. Happy to be sharing Candlewick's exciting new YA titles coming out in Winter 20 and Spring 21 coming up. Before diving in, if you could just go to the next slide, I wanted to let you know that we're very active on all of our social media. We also send out weekly e-newsletters, so be sure to follow and subscribe. Our e-newsletter information is in the next slide. And if you are posting during this preview about our title, do tag us, and also use hashtag Candlewick Preview so we can find you. We'd love to hear what you guys think about any of these titles. And then just the next slide will show you just making sure that everybody's accessing our information easily. We've created a landing page with all the existing digital resources available on this handy one-stop platform, Stay Home with Candlewick Press. So be sure to check it out and find resources for your at-home or our in-class use here. I also wanted to let you know on the next slide that in October, we'll be hosting an ongoing Twitter slow chat on the Coretta Scott King Awards honor book, X, a Novel, written by Malcolm X's third daughter, Ilyasa Shabazz, and Kekla Magoon as part of a classroom read-along. The discussion will begin on October 21st and will continue into November. Students and their teachers can follow hashtag CandlewickAllClass on Twitter each week to join in on a conversation with Boston-based literacy activists and educators, Nicole Montgomery and Dr. Kim Parker, about this book. So we hope you can join us. All right, let's get started with the selection of Winter 2020 titles first. We go to our next slide. And then actually another slide. First on our list, we have Everything I Thought I Knew by Shannon Takaoka, which is publishing next month. This is hugely compelling page turner that's perfect for fans of contemporary realistic YA with a thread of mystery where a teenage girl wonders if she's inherited more than just a heart from her donor. 17-year-old Chloe had ambitious plans to attend a top-tier college, but after she collapses during cross-country practice and is told that she needs a new heart, all her careful preparations are laid to waste. 8 months after her transplant, all she wants to do now is grab her surfboard and hit the waves, which is strange because she never really was interested in surfing before her transplant. There's also the vivid recurring nightmare about crashing a motorcycle in a tunnel and memories of people and places she doesn't recognize. So as she searches for answers and as her attraction to her surfer instructor Kai intensifies, what she learns will lead to questioning everything she thought she knew. This is the author Takaoka's first novel, and we're delighted to share with you this compulsively readable debut. Next, we have a nonfiction title in the next slide, The Suffragist Playbook, Your Guide to Changing the World by Lucinda Robb and Rebecca Roberts. This is an eye-opening look at the suffragist playbook, showing that some of their strategies are actually very similar to what we are seeing every day today in a continuous movement for equality. And the friendship between authors goes back for generations. In fact, this was written as a joint tribute to the strong women in their families who are well-known figures in our history. Lucinda Robb is the granddaughter of Lady Bird Johnson, and Rebecca Boggs Roberts is the daughter of the late national radio personality Cokie Roberts. The author's convivial writing style and tips for success based on their own firsthand experiences on the national stage will make this offering widely accessible with crossover appeal. All right, continuing on with nonfiction, we have The Black Friend on Being a Better White Person by Frederick Joseph. Joseph is widely known as the creator of the hashtag Black Panther Challenge, a GoFundMe project to take kids to see the now iconic movie, which raised nearly $1 million. So we're particularly excited to be publishing Joseph's debut YA in December this year. Much like Ibram X. Kendi and Jason Reynolds Stamped, this book is an essential read for white teens who want to learn more about how to be an effective ally and accomplice, and also for young people of color who long to see their experiences validated from the perspective of the quote, the Black friend everyone should have, end quote. Each chapter features the voice of at least one artist or activist, including Angie Thomas of The Hate U Give, April Rain, creator of hashtag Oscars So White, and 11 others. It's an all-encompassing guide on how to show up for this movement. And already we've gotten amazing praise for this book from Jacqueline Woodson, Angie Thomas, and Chelsea Clinton. This is coming out in December this year, and it's for ages 12 and up. And lastly, on our winter 2020 list, we have The Great Gatsby, a graphic novel adaptation by graphic designer Catherine Woodman Maynard. This adaptation casts the powerful imagery of Fitzgerald's great American novel in a vivid format through a talented artist and popular web series creator's storytelling lens. If you go to the next slide, you can say, painted in lush watercolors, the inventive interpretation emphasizes both the extravagance and mystery of the characters, as well as the fluidity of Nick Carey's unreliable narration. There's also a couple more slides there showcasing just this beautiful illustrations in the book. Excerpts from the original text went through the illustrations, and imagery and metaphors are taken to literal and often whimsical extremes. Particularly fans of Gareth Hines would love this, and it's also one of the first adaptations of the books in this genre. So new and exciting thing for everyone. Okay, moving on to some new YA coming out on our spring 21 list. What year are we in? We have Amber and Clay from the inimitable Newbery Medal winning Laura Amy Schlitz. I'm obsessed with this book. Everything Laura Amy Schlitz does is wild and revolutionary. And now we have this amazing new tour de force set in ancient Greek. It's about Mellisto, a girl as precious as Amber, and Raskos, a boy as common as Clay. Two spiritual twins who never meet face to face. Mellisto is a highborn girl who is fated to become tamed and married, but before then she's allowed to risk her life for one season to Artemis, goddess of the hunt, in an almost feral Girl Scout experience that allows her to be part of nature. Raskos is a Thracian slave in a Greek household, and he dreams of becoming an artist and accidentally strikes up a friendship with Socrates. As their lives intertwine, the two save each other, Mellisto giving Raskos a way to free himself from slavery, and Raskos bringing peace to Mellisto's soul so she could move on. Throughout the novel, you'll see a blending of verse, prose, and illustrated archaeological artifacts that are fictional but used as a storytelling tool to make the universe within the book more vivid. It mixes mythology with poetry with a hint of history book. It's an exciting first return to verse for the author since her Newbery Medal winning Good Masters, Sweet Ladies. It's publishing next March. I hope you can check it out. And then next we have Baby and Solo by a new talent, Elizabeth Postuma, who worked as a video store clerk, which inspired the setting of the novel. Set in the 90s, Joel looks at his new job at Royo Video as a tabula rasa. No one knows anything about him or the troubles he's had in the past. He starts making friends, including Baby, who he gives a ride to one day, and realizes she's on the cusp of deciding if she's going to have an abortion or not. So this book is definitely upper YA with some mature content, and it's one of those books that you remember as a coming of age that is as painful as it is powerful, with each character undergoing dramatic changes and coming out with a completely new understanding of themselves and the world around them. Also, those of us who loved browsing around Blockbuster before the days of Netflix, this is a really beautiful homage to the 90s. And it's also optioned for Apple TV, so that's exciting, so stay tuned. Next, we have a title from Walker Brooks US, which is one of our divisions, All Our Hidden Gifts by Caroline O'Donoghue. This is a debut YA from O'Donoghue, who is an award-winning Irish author, journalist, and host of the acclaimed podcast Sentimental Garbage. It's set in an Irish town where the church's tight hold has loosened and new freedoms are trying to take root. The main protagonist, Maeve, finds a pack of tarot cards while cleaning out a closet during her in-school suspension. Her astute tarot readings make her the talk of the school until a classmate and ex-best friend Lily draws a chilling and unfamiliar card, which leads to a big argument between them. When Maeve learns next day that her ex-friend has vanished without a trace, she must dig deep into her connection and her own special abilities to search for clues that police cannot find, all while also trying to preserve a fledgling romance with Lily's gender-fluid sibling, Ro. So this is a wildly entertaining book that also manages to explore sexuality, gender identity, and prejudice, all against the backdrop of modern Ireland. Fans of mysticism and character-driven supernatural mystery will find this book super entertaining. This is the first in a series, so there's more to come also. So hope you like it. Next, we have Zoe Rosenthal is Not Waffle Good by Nancy Werling, who you may know from the National Book Finalist, The Rules of Survival, and several other award-winning YA. The kernel of the book came from a life-changing experience Werling had at ALA many years ago when she shared a hotel room with a bunch of these other women who she just ended up becoming really close friends with. She so joyfully writes about beta friend meetings at Comic-Con that it makes my heart ache from missing those social connections so much in the last few months. The plot. Zoe Rosenthal is a huge fan of the fictional show Bleeders, but her boyfriend isn't. In fact, he looks down on cons and superfans. Because Zoe wants to be the perfect supportive girlfriend, though, before she starts college, she gets her wiggles out and attend one last Comic-Con in secret. There, Zoe happens to meet friends that she didn't know she couldn't have, and they agree to keep meeting up at cons. 1 becomes 2, which becomes 3, and more. The question is, can Zoe be a true fan and still be Simon's perfect girlfriend? So it's just a lovely, heartfelt story about a girl who is learning how to embrace her inner nerdy self, which I can totally relate to. So I hope you guys like it, coming out next April. Next, we have The Great Garden by Meg Rosoff. This is a compulsively readable coming-of-age tale that is heady and timeless, involving one family with one slow-burning drama. A good comp title would be E. Lockhart's We Were Liars. It's a quintessential summer story with when sexual awakening changes a young person's life. In an eccentric vacation house by the sea, our watchful narrator sees everything, including many things that shouldn't be seen. While one family fills the hot days with wine and tennis and sailing and planning a wedding, enter 2 brothers, the sons of a fading film actress, irresistibly charming and sexy Kit, surly and silent Hugo. Suddenly, there's a serpent in this paradise, and the consequences will be devastating. In a propulsive narrative carrying intrigue and a growing sense of unease, Meg Rosoff, best-selling author of the iconic How I Live Now, offers a summer tale of innocence lost that will find its place among the classics of young adult literature. It's coming out in April next year for ages 14 and up. It would be a perfect summer beach read. And last on the list, we have a nonfiction title, The Waiting Place, When Home is Lost and a New One Not Yet Found, written by Dina Nayeri and photographs by Anabash Miral-Pei. The cover here that you see in the subtitle are not yet final, just FYI. Dina Nayeri was born in Iran, and when she was 8 years old, she and her family escaped and were in a refugee camp for almost 2 years as undocumented immigrants and asylum seekers. And though it's been decades since that experience, she has continuously returned to that place in her life through her writing fiction and nonfiction for adults. But this is her first time tackling younger nonfiction that is centered on the theme of refugees. In this book, she collaborates with acclaimed photographer Miral-Pei and looks at 10 young lives who are affected by the refugee crisis at a camp they traveled to twice in Greece called Katikas. They capture snippets of life there of families and children in terrible limbo who await an uncertain future, while also continuing to form bonds and grow up with their own hopes and dreams. I think this work is so important and applicable, and painfully, unfortunately, still remains timely. The back matter offers a powerful afterword as well as photos and information about the author's own time in a refugee camp. This is coming out in April next year for ages 20 and up. And that is it from Candlewick Press for now. Do check out all of our resources sites and feel free to direct any questions to me. In the next slide, you'll see an email address, library@candlewick.com, or you can email me at sawako.shirota@candlewick.com. I hope to connect with you guys. Thanks so much for your attention.